Welcome back to the Fantasy Waiver Wire. This your boy Tubby. With me as always is Greg. And we are back. We are back. We are back. I'll tell you right now, don't come in this chat with no crap today. If you know an Eagles fan, we don't want to hear your stuff right now. I'm in mourning. It's only week 2. That's how dramatic we are. But oh man, tough.
Yeah.
Tough weekend, man.
We're back and we're
good
pissed.
fantasy wise for me, but it ended sour on that Monday night, man. What's up, man?
I didn't even get a fantasy win. I got beat in my other league. Nobody showed up for me. The picks were just topsy-turvy. And what I say last week, the teams that win week 1, I've watched it every football season, tend to struggle in week 2. Cowboys lost, Niners lost, Eagles lost. All the front runners and these teams, the Ravens lost. The Chiefs should have lost without a fumble recovery. And I wouldn't say a dubious pass interference because it was pass interference, but you know that 9 out of 10 times teams aren't getting that pass interference call. Sure as hell, the Eagles haven't gotten a pass interference call like that where somebody
was a little too early.
Just a little
too. You have like early, then you have.
Yeah. I'm not going to say that was
the guy's already falling before the ball even gets there.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's a bad call. I'm just saying that it didn't hurt that it was the Chiefs that got the call, but I don't hate on the Chiefs. They are a great team, but they should have lost too. If Burrow doesn't put the ball on the ground, then we're not even talking about the pass interference call. And so that's huge.
If they didn't kind of stall that drive with Chase going crazy, over the non-call, and he just kind of backed them up 15.
Oh yeah,
you never know. They could have went down and got a touchdown there.
Yeah, there's so many factors where the Bengals shot themselves in the foot. And so did the Eagles.
Oh yeah.
So did the Niners. It's one of those things, and the Cowboys just didn't even show up. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things. I said I've noticed that when people start panicking after week 1, pump the brakes. There's even on the Falcons side. I told everybody, watch if Kirk Cousins doesn't have a good game. And you were saying, well, he's gimpy and running around a leg. But yeah, Vic Fangio is on the other side, setting up a defensive system where we're going to put everybody 10 yards off the ball. We're going to put our safeties 40 yards off the ball and just hope that you don't pass it where our corners are. And that's not, you're only going to rush 4, and you're going to let a man on one leg be able to have all day in the world, all the time in the world, and be able to hit downfield. Now, granted, I know he only threw for 220, but they made some big plays, including the 2 at the end. And so Pitts had a good game. Bijan had a good game. London had a good game. Now, I'm going to say this to all the people that have those 3 guys on fantasy. Don't expect that shit to continue because they won't be playing the Eagles soft zone defense. So proceed with caution. I think Bijan can still produce in fantasy. But if the Falcons, like this week going up against Kansas City, be very careful thinking, oh, Pitts is back, London's back. No. He was playing the Eagles defense, which has some good cover corners. Slay effed up a couple times. CD screwed up a couple times. Sorry, I'm mad. But overall, they have good cover corners. It's just the fact that the scheme itself it puts them in bad positions. So
how about that CD 4th down tackle? Oh my God,
huge. And so
it was a game-winning tackle. It should have been.
The game was over at that point, and the Eagles found a way to lose it by either not running the ball. I didn't mind the call to Barkley. Barkley turned his head, and that happens. He got excited. Adrenaline got the better of him. I can't fault Barkley. Without Barkley running freaking 8 yards a clip. Mm-hmm. My thing is why do you not think on 3rd and 3 Barkley ain't going to get that first down? On first down, he ran 3 yards. On 2nd down, he ran 3 yards. You don't trust him to get another 3 yards against this defense who are tired, but it is what it is.
And from a strategy standpoint, let's say you do run the ball and he doesn't get 3, he gets 2. What do the Eagles do better than anybody else?
Yeah.
You put the tush push in there and you ice the game.
Yeah.
I mean, Barkley has had, I saw the stat earlier, he's had more drops than any running back in the last 5 years combined. Like he has had more drops than any running back in NFL. So he's definitely prone to dropping a few. But it was just deflating, man. It was just because it was so because the first one that Jalen threw to, and the one where he didn't score, you go, oh man, just put it out low. Then it just drops. I mean, when you watch the replay from the back, it's even worse. You're just like, oh my goodness. But yeah, even if you run and get 2 and that doesn't work out for you, you do the tush push, but you at least still take 35 to 40 seconds off the
Exactly. And if you do the tush push and you don't get it, you give the ball to the Falcons with under a minute, and they got to go the length of the field to get a game-tying field goal.
Right.
It would have almost been better because the fact that they knew they had to have a touchdown put them at an advantage. They knew it was 7 or bust.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating. I'll give you another stat real quick. 140 points that the Eagles have given up under 2 minutes going back to the beginning of last season. That stat came out on SportsCenter this morning, and I about crapped my pants on my couch. My couch is already brown, thank God. But it was literally, I saw, and it didn't surprise me because this was, last year, this was the same type of defense with Sean Desai at defensive coordinator. And I said this to you off camera. We've had Jim Schwartz, Jonathan Gannon, Sean Desai, all Vic Fangio's disciples, and we've had this horrible soft zone coverage since 2015. And now we've got the originator of the soft zone. And it doesn't fill me with any confidence going forward. Now, I will say this. I put $10 on DraftKings on the Falcons to cover that 5.5.
Wow.
So I can't now. I got 20 in the bank. I took the 20 this morning and I put it on the Saints because they're only giving 1 point in New Orleans.
Eagles are still favorite. New Orleans is our favorite.
That was what it was this morning when I rolled. I rolled the money. I'm not a big gambler, so I'm not going to spend like $500. But if I felt like it, that's easy money. Yeah. The way this defense played last night, we're talking about a New Orleans team that went into Dallas and just waylaid the Cowboys, who have a much better defense than the Eagles. And now the Eagles going to New Orleans, and the opening spread was -1. You best believe, okay, I rolled a little bit more than the 20, but not much more. I swear. Out of everything that's on the board this week, that's easy money. And I love the Eagles. But do I think that with that defense and no A.J. Brown, that they can roll into New Orleans and get a win off those guys?
Yeah, I still can't believe they haven't worked Dotson in.
Not at all.
And then Paris Campbell was back and okay, you went through camp with him. He doesn't get the ball. We somehow started relying on Tubby.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. 3 wide receiver screens. 3 wide receiver screens to this guy. And of course you got Devontae. Somebody I don't mind Kellen Moore. I know a lot of the Cowboy fans are like, you got Kellen Moore, you suck. Yeah, he had the number 1 offense when he was with you guys. So I don't mind Kellen Moore. I think he's better than what we had last year. But he needs to realize that if you're going to run a wide receiver screen, you can't have Devontae Smith out there blocking.
Right.
It's just not what you do. Right. And I said to you over text, if you're going to run that screen, give it to Goddard. We've seen Goddard with those screens. He doesn't need blocking. Right. You give that ball to Goddard 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, he steamrolls people for yardage. But yet you give it to Covey because he's supposedly a speedster. But speedsters can only do so much when there's 5 guys standing in front of you. Right. So it's not on Covey. It's on the scheme, thinking that and I said to you after they ran it twice, I said, okay, rip that play out. What do? They run it again. Like, stop wasting plays.
And it worked, but then we got a penalty.
And they got always ineligible down. 3 ineligible men downfield. That to me is like, all right, they're running RPOs. And the play is an RPO. Why can't you stay home? Even Kelsey was on the coverage going, you have to mentally know where you're at during an RPO. You can't assume it's going to be a run. And so it was Juergens twice and Johnson once. Killed him on those plays. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I noticed they also said that the league was watching that in particular this year. That's why, and then Kelsey was saying, normally you can get away with it, about a yard or so, but now they're super strict on this line stuff, man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
On this, man,
But
super strict on the line. I don't think I've ever seen this many line calls.
Yeah.
Like ever.
Those ineligible were bad though. They were like 5 yards downfield. They weren't even close.
Right, for
And that's
sure.
Jurgens taking off like that into the end zone on that one to Covey. It was like, oh my God, dude, you're killing us. The one time that play works and you can't stay home.
Right.
Yeah, it's frustrating. So I could go on. I actually haven't talked to anybody about the game because people were messaging me and I'm like, I just was like texting back, okay, whatever. You
wouldn't believe somebody tried to call me after the game. I'm like, you're trying to call me after the Eagles game? You must don't know me.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, man. But that's our opening on the Eagles. We could get that out. But we had a matchup this week.
Yeah, we did. Don't get me started on this either.
We had a matchup this week, and man, Thursday night, I was a little worried. I said
I would have been.
After Thursday night, I was like, man, and you can't blame Allen. It was just the game script. They just ran all over Miami.
Yep, they did.
Didn't really even need him that much. And I was like, oh, man, because he's such a bulk of my offense. And, man, and then this weekend, things kind of changed, man. Taylor, he was kind of limping along throughout the game, but man, I was lucky that Richardson was struggling. He got some few points late, but he was struggling early.
The turnovers killed him.
Oh yeah, 3 picks, man. Yeah, 3 picks. Oh man. So
yeah, it was a brutal game for me. Just I saw the Allen thing, and in the other league, I was playing against James Cook, so it was like damned if you do, damned if you don't. I get no points with Allen here, but then I got 32 dropped on me in my other league with Cook, and then I was happy with what Hall did, fine with what Gibbs did. And then again, I'd second week with nothing from Ayuk, very little from Diggs. I had Colby Parkinson, because Ferguson had gone down with an injury. He was my best bet to put in at tight end, 3 points. DJ Moore, that Bears offense, man, good Lord, it is. Oh, yeah. I would worry about that if I had any Bears receivers, and I'm worried about it. Jameson had a good game. I was happy with that. Young Way got his thing. Dallas, of course, had 30 points last week, 3 this week after getting stomped. I'm not too worried about that. I think I had a Dallas fan talk to me this morning. I'm like, hey, at least you guys have a defense that's actually aggressive you can fall back on. What I thought about that New Orleans game, and we'll see if it affects Dallas going forward as far as a fantasy perspective, is what I thought was really clever, because I watched most of that New Orleans-Dallas game, is New Orleans attacked Dallas's aggressiveness. Go back through that game film and watch how many screens that they called. Like that big Kamara play was a great screen where they let Dallas in. Dallas's over aggressiveness, their over pursuit, left Kamara all alone, and he just bolted to the end zone. That was one of the biggest plays of the game. And so they had Carr getting the ball out quick against that Dallas defense so that Dallas couldn't make an impact. And it led to a lot of quick touchdown scores for them. And before you knew it, Dallas was playing catch up. And once you take Dallas out of their game plan where they can't run the ball, and again, when you've got CeeDee Lamb but not a lot of other weapons, it really put them on their back foot, which we just haven't seen teams do, especially in Dallas. I think they said this is the first time they'd lost at home in 2 years.
No way. Really?
Yeah. They didn't lose at home all last season. So it was a very surprising game.
They pay the refs well down there.
Well, we all know that.
They pay them well.
As far as defensive wise, I'm not too worried about them. I would still start them as a defense, but again, did nothing for me. So I got smoked all the way across the board by your guys, and it is the way it is.
Yeah, I had a second highest score in the league. Let me take this question real quick.
Right.
We'll get this one up there. Lost Pacheco. Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm.
I had Waddle at flex. Should I ship Waddle? Brian Robinson Jr.
I like what B
with no Tua for a while, and
how
the backup looked when he came in.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Because
Brian Robinson, he looked pretty good this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
He looked really strong. He looked really good this weekend. That's something I would consider. But Waddle, I think it also depends on how good your wide receivers are. Because if you picked Waddle, you probably got him a little high. I don't think Waddle dropped too far.
Yeah, he wasn't up there, maybe third round, but I do like B-Rob. Granted, he was playing the Giants, and I had a friend of mine ask me, they gave me a few choices. And I liked his matchup, and he did really well in that matchup. So I'm not sure exactly what the points were, but I know that it worked out for my friend. So B-Rob is not, he's not one of the top 5 running backs out there, but we're losing Pacheco, and you got to fill that gap somehow. Yeah. So what was his points on? Yeah.
22.
Yeah. Really
24
good
last week.
Yeah.
22 this week. Oh, that's Bijan Robinson.
What are you doing?
My bad. Brian, I want Brian. I clicked on this so quick. When I just seen B Robinson. I was like, yeah,
that's funny. It's like I looked up too right when you did it.
Hey, it doesn't drop that far. 20 points last week, 20 points this week.
Yeah, so I knew he had both really good days. So yeah, if you can get him for Waddle, I would do it. Yeah, granted, you got to hope you have other good wide receivers out there, but yeah.
Bring this up. You want to read this out while I bring these stats up?
Yeah, sure. All right, 2-0. Good job, Taco. Got offered Jamar Chase for Kyron and Godwin. Take it? Question mark. Trying to get Kenneth Walker included. That would be okay. You have Hurts, Kyron, Connor, AGB, Godwin, Laporta, Jason Bench. All right, he's got a pretty good team. I'm sure Algier on your bench didn't do too bad this week. You ran all over the Eagles. But Jamar offered Jamar Chase for Kyron and Godwin. So look at, because you want to get another running back for that. Kyron is, I like Godwin though.
Chase, Kyron, and Godwin. Godwin has been amazing for me,
man.
One of my easiest.
I like Godwin a lot.
I have him. You saw, look, 28 last week, 28 this week.
Yeah, why would you give up Godwin?
Yeah, man, he has a rapport. It's like it's like him and Baker are on the same. You could just tell he runs really good routes, and Baker has been playing really good this year, and they've been linking up.
They went on the road. They went on the road and just put a hurting on Detroit. I like Chase, but man, there's something's wrong in the water in Cincinnati. I'm worried about that. In fact, it showed when Chase got the penalty. I mean, they were really frustrated in that game.
I'm taking that.
You're going to take Chase for Kyron and Godwin to give up Kyron?
He said he got offered Chase. Oh, he has Godwin. And I got you. No. I'm not giving up Godwin. Not right now.
No.
It's almost like you get a free running back.
You got Kyron and Connor.
Right. Yeah.
So if you get Kenneth Walker, that's a downgrade.
Right, for sure.
I like he didn't even play last week, dude. I know that a lot of people don't make trades, but when you've got that starting lineup, I mean, look, you got Hurts, and then your running backs are Kyron and Connor. You got AJ and Godwin, then Laporta at tight end. Yeah. I don't know why you'd give up Godwin. That's just me.
I'm with Greg on that. I'm not taking that trade because, like I said, Godwin has been, man. I don't know where I drafted him at, but I knew last year he's always a sleeper. For some reason, nobody really thinks about him. But if you look back historically, he puts up numbers.
Here's another thing I'll say about Jamar Chase. We talked about it a little bit last week. With no Mixon on the Bengals, and you look at that, it was just a horrible day for him in Kansas City. With no Mixon on the Bengals and no real running threat, Moss is not doing it. Brown is not doing it. That it's going to put the onus on Burrow to make plays to Chase. And so many people are going to be covering and kind of double covering Chase because they can. And if the longer T. Higgins is out, the worse it's going to get for Jamar Chase. So I'd be very skeptical of that trade.
Yeah, man. Said Reed and Mason for Evans and Spears. Let me bring this up here.
Yeah. It's kind of a middle of the road proposition. So which J-Tube, could you clarify who's getting who? You're giving up Reed and Mason for Evans and Spears, or getting Evans and Spears, just to make sure. Spears did not have a great game, but I like him in that offense. Reed didn't, he didn't do great against. I think with Reed it's hard because of Love being out for an extended amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a drop off with Willis.
If you're getting Mason, knowing now you got Evans and Spears.
So he gets
Evans. Get Evans and Spears. So you're talking about giving up Mason. Somebody's trying to come after Mason.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of that because you know why they're coming after Mason, J-Tube? is because it was just announced that Christian McCaffrey is going to be out another 6 weeks, maybe even longer.
Man, yeah. So
shit, they want that. They want that San Francisco running game. They want that in your pocket. I wouldn't give up Mason.
Speaking of Mason, so I was privy to a trade. Joe tried to send Mason and Derrick Henry to my brother for Harrison, and initially I'm like, man, I would just give Marvin Harrison another week and just kind of see, how he does. But I'm like, but then I thought this was, now mind you, this was when I thought Christian McCaffrey, this was before Christian McCaffrey went on the IR.
Oh,
so
okay.
Everybody thought that Christian McCaffrey was just coming back next week. He's standing on the sidelines.
Yep.
Late scratch. He'll be back next week. So of course, I'm like, nah. So, and he didn't do the trade. And then now you see Mason like really, really, really doing well, like week in, week out. He had 21 last week. He was a little bit absent from that game. Niners just got handled. I think that that long touchdown just jolted him. Like, oh man.
Now I don't know. I don't think Love is going to be out that long, so Reed's numbers will come back up. You could stash him.
Let's see.
I think, like we talked about earlier, Evans has got a deal with Godwin, getting a lot more targets right now, but they're both doing well in that office. Baker's really spreading the ball around, but so
he's come back this week.
Yeah, see, exactly. So that Reed's prospects could come up depending on how long Jordan Love is out. I wouldn't give up Reed and Mason for Evans and Spears. Spears is definitely a downgrade. I like Spears a lot, but he, drafting wise, he was toward the end of everybody's draft because
I drafted him
because he's got Pollard starting in front of him, and until he unseats Pollard definitively. Yeah.
And the offense in general, the Titans don't look good on offense.
No.
They don't look good on offense, man. Look, honestly, the only team. Oh, Sutton. Oh, here you go. So this is talking about the trade. He wanted to send me Mason and Sutton. Oh, okay.
Okay. Wanted to send.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. You sent him back. Well, give me Derrick Henry. That was like a counter trade. That's right. That's right.
Sutton is like throwing in nothing, basically.
Nothing. I picked up Sutton. I thought he could.
No, Sutton, I've had Sutton so many times. He's just a MacGuffin, man. He just sits on your bench, or he takes up space on your roster, and he gives you nothing in return. His days are done. Now, yeah, Mason and Harrison. Honestly, if you're going 1-for-1, I think Marvin Harrison has the potential to really be a breakout wide receiver. If it benefited your brother and helped his receiving core, and he's got other good running backs, then I would consider that. I wouldn't even worry about Sutton. But yeah, if you get Henry on top of it, then yeah, you're robbing him blind.
That's right. It was a counter. That's right. It was a counter trade that he was like, well,
but I mean, and again, if you wanted to send Mason to you, so I think he's wanting to get Harrison now early, which is smart.
Sure.
And then knowing that you're going to have Mason for maybe another 5-6 weeks, and then McCaffrey gets back, and then your numbers are going to go down, especially around playoff time. So he's thinking long term with this deal.
Mm-hmm. Man, put up 206 in a loss this week. That's a tough one. That's tough.
I don't feel as bad now. I only put 136 up.
That's tough. 206 in a loss. I mean, that's a pretty hefty week to take an L on. Kyler Murray, they look good, man. They look good. The Cardinals, I picked the Rams. That killed one of my parlays, but I had another parlay, man, and it was I had the Chiefs and Houston. Painful parlay. I thought I lost that parlay with the Chiefs. I mean, I thought it was over. I'm like, dang, man. So I put a couple dollars on it. I put a couple. I had a couple dollars on that game, and I was just sitting there like, damn, man. And then the hero comes along.
You were happy for that pass interference
with the strength to carry on. I mean,
your hero was the man in black and white. That was your hero.
I could not believe it, man. I could not. I thought the game was done, but you could never. You see Burrow, he goes from chanting, and he fucking slams his helmet like, not again.
Yep,
not again.
But yeah, so you whipped my ass.
I scored second highest in the league this week. Let me see. See some of my highlights. Godwin has been a godsend this year so far. He immediately moved up to wide receiver 1 after the first week with Metcalf. I was a little worried, but
all your receivers performed well. Metcalf
right back
and London,
right back. He looked really good against that. This is why last week I was saying, look what Geno Smith. This is how you know something wrong in the Bengals. Look what Geno Smith did against the same team that the Bengals didn't even score on for 3 quarters at home.
Yeah, and
at home. Come on, bro. And they go to New England. And wax them. I don't understand it. That's why I was saying so much like, whoa, man, we can't just gloss over this. I get this New England team is tough, got a good core still, but Mango's supposed to beat them.
Yeah.
Mango's supposed to beat them.
And that's what I was talking about last week is like with these fantasy week 1, don't panic. Don't let the panic button get to you. Watch what you've got. We won't know who anybody is for another couple of weeks. Right. So even the Eagles, like right now we're mad and we're pretty upset. But if the Eagles somehow miraculously beat New Orleans Sunday and then beat Tampa Bay, they'll be 3-1 going into their bye week. And we'll be feeling a little bit differently. So we can't hit the panic button. Yeah, we're mad. It was a stupid game with stupid decisions. Maybe they learn from it and do better. You can never predict. Now, predictably, they may lose both of those games and then be 1-3 going to the bye week, and then we're going to know who the Eagles are this year.
That's a quick bye week, isn't it?
Yeah, very early. Well, we normally used to get the Eagles having a bye week around week 10, week 11. So this year they get an early one.
It's going to be brutal because of us.
They're going to need it to get AJ Brown back and get some of these guys back and just get an early break. I mean, I'm fine with it.
It's brutal. Here's why. I maybe you can use it as these first 4 games are preseason, and then we reset, regroup, bring it back. Here's the positives about the Eagles. Our division look like it sucks right now. So right now, we will never look like we're out of the playoff. It would take a lot for the Eagles to miss the playoffs in this division. It would take Dallas to just go off. Washington and the Giants, not really sweating them too much. That was bum against bums last week for the most part. Some bright spots were Robinson, but for the most part, that is our silver lining no matter what. Is that Dallas looks really beatable.
Yeah.
To be honest, there's only 2 teams that just looked solid these first 2 weeks. New Orleans and the Chiefs. The Chiefs didn't look terrible. Something's just going on with Kelsey and Mahomes. That connection is gone. That where you get 8 catches a game from Kelsey and all that seems to be gone.
Yeah.
But they lost Hollywood Brown.
Yeah,
man, really only the Saints. The Saints have been the only team I thought were consistent, top to bottom, for the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Only the Saints, in my opinion. That's just me.
Can I throw one out there that is a surprise?
Who?
The Vikings.
The Vikings have played. They really did just beat the Niners too. My bad. Shout out to Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold said when he got in the locker room, he threw an expletive out there and said, "You never should have cut me." He took that shit personal. That's what he did, and he made a statement against the Niners. I do think they played the Giants week 1, but their defense is playing better than it ever has, and if they continue to play that well, the Vikings defense, then Darnold is going to find a way to win games between him and JJ. I know JJ tweaked himself and had to leave the game. Hopefully he'll be back soon for them. But they could use a little bit stronger running game. But I think that they're a surprise. I think they're a team to watch right now.
Yeah, man, I slept on them. You are 100% right. They have, and like again, they just beat the Niners. Yeah, man, that was let me see how old Aaron is doing for these boys. So he had a solid first game.
Yeah, against the Giants, not so much against the
Oh, true. But that's to be expected against them.
Yeah, it's tough run defense. And they got another one coming up in Houston. That Houston game will say a lot about the Vikings.
Good point.
Playing at home.
Yeah.
And I thought the Houston Texans struggled at home against the Bears defense. So that could be a interesting game for sure.
Bears got some dogs.
They do. Not so much on offense, but damn, they
right. On defense. They got some dogs on defense, man. I really can't tell. But yeah. My bad. I skipped over a whole squad. Buffalo's
playing good
because they came back and beat the Cardinals team, who looked really great against the Rams.
Yep.
And then last week they just ran roughshod on Miami.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's hard to judge them against that Miami team, especially with Tua. Tua was not playing well, bad interceptions, trying to throw the ball out of bounds across his body and just leaving it up there in the air as a pick six.
Is it an Alabama thing? You think?
I don't know, man. I tell you,
quarterbacks be improv,
leaving
man.
them up there. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. So it's hard to judge them. I don't want to get one more week on the Bills because it really is hard to judge who their number one receiver is. Is it Keon? He had nothing. No, and you got Cook out there who's playing really well, but when teams start stacking the box against the Bills because they're no longer afraid of the Bills passing game, that could be a problem. I don't know. Right now, yes. Yeah, 2-0 is 2-0, so I'm not going to say anything, but yeah, they're a good squad too. But it like I said last week, don't panic. Teams that win in week 1, sometimes a lot of them don't win in week 2. Now the rubber hits the road these next couple of weeks, and we're going to start seeing things to level out. So be careful on the trades this week. Look long term, like that guy trying to push that Marvin Harrison to get Marvin Harrison from your brother. That's a long term deal. That's smart. Sure. If you can get somebody to give you a Marvin Harrison Jr. for somebody who is a backup running back that may see the bench in about 6 weeks.
Right.
Really smart. That was a really smart attempt.
Yeah, because and my brother has McCaffrey.
Right.
So it's like a double help. It's like, all right, man, you can't lose it. You could, either one of these guys are going to be the starters.
Right.
This helps you only, but if you're thinking it's a good futures trade.
Yes.
If you're thinking, but right now, it's a good right now for later because Marvin Harrison and then his grits, his groceries, first play or two, boom, and then again, I'm like, whew.
Well, a lot of people that didn't show up week 1 are you can't just judge everything on week 1. Malik Neighbors, and I don't think the Giants are going to do much this year, but even in a loss, Malik Neighbors looked friggin' top notch. He's the one saving grace they've got. So yeah, look at that.
18 targets.
Unbelievable. It's all they've got. So he's going to start generating some double coverage for sure against better teams. Granted, Washington's defense couldn't cover him, but I watched that and I'm like, yeah, and him and Harrison going off, and the better the Cardinals do, the more you're going to see Harrison and Kyler gel, and it's going to be ugly for anybody having to go against them too. So
yeah, man. Couple of highlights from this week. Best manager goes to yours truly. I didn't leave anything on the bench, but I didn't win high score, so I'm not the best manager this week. Worst manager, Rod.
Set the worst possible. Surprised it ain't me.
Set the worst lineup and only score 89% of their perfect possible lineup. Yeah, that's why I got the perfect possible lineup I could have put together.
Yeah,
that's why I got the max score. Biggest blowout. Let's just skip over that. We're just going to skip over that. No need to beat a dead horse here.
Yeah.
Margin of 53%.
Oh yeah.
Man. I thought I was beat to hell to narrow another close one this week. Somewhat. That wasn't nothing. Not as close as last week with y'all. Half a point.
Oh yeah.
Score. Mel. Oh man. I mean, Mel's team's just loaded, man. They were hitting on all cylinders too. I'll get to that one too. Lowest score. Big A Willie.
Surprised it ain't me.
Overachiever. See, I lost to an overachiever. His team went off, man, and below expectations. A Will. QB of the week, Kyler Murray.
Yep.
No surprise with the Alvin Kamara. Best wide receiver. Hey, you just brought him up. Malik Neighbors, wide receiver of the week.
Without a doubt.
Brock Bowers. Man, he had a solid game. Jeez.
And he's going to have more. Raiders going into Baltimore was a shock of the week, in my opinion. But a lot of it had to do with Brock Bowers. Everybody, like I said, week 1, kind of quiet, and I expect more out of him. He could be tight end 1 this season. He could be that Laporta guy. He's that good.
Yeah, man. Kaimi Fairburn. He had a how did he get more than my kicker?
Because the
350s?
Yeah, Houston could. That's it. That was it.
Damn.
Yep. That's all they had.
350-yard field goal.
350. 350. Yeah.
I'll take that back. Damn, I do that at 52. Aubrey from Dallas.
Yeah.
Defense of the week goes to
your Houston Texans.
Waiver Wire's finest. I picked them up this week.
Yeah.
I just picked them up before the game. Not right before the game, but I picked them up this week on the waiver wire. I seen them. I'm like, okay, I saw what Caleb Williams, because I had Caleb Williams. Saw what he did. I dropped Caleb Williams and picked up Houston's defense because they were playing just to give myself a shot, man. I just think, Caleb Williams, it's no real telling with him. I didn't really watch his Heisman season, I'll be honest, but I did watch the season after, and it just didn't look good. I watched I remember watching his Utah game. I'm like, yeah, I mean, he can play, but I don't know if he's a game changer. But I'm not going to be down on the rookie in week 2 for Chicago. You're not going to catch me doing that. But I just didn't have high hopes.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure. But what I do like about him, if you give him a good pocket, he will stay there.
Yeah.
He's not really interested in taking off. He's not really interested in moving the pocket. So that's some of his stuff.
I think for him I'm biased. I'm not a big fan of the Pac-12 defenses. They were all shootouts. So I think that he didn't have a lot of pressure over the course of his career at USC. So he didn't face NFL type.
What about Oklahoma?
What do you mean? Oh, when he was at Oklahoma?
Yeah. Didn't he play at Oklahoma?
I've only don't remember from USC.
He left with old buddy when
I don't know, old buddy.
the coach of USC.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. I know you're talking about. Yeah.
Because we're talking about USC and we're talking about Oklahoma.
Yeah. No, I was just judging his USC days where he won the Heisman, and then last year when he ended up losing in the finale and ended up crying in his mama's arms.
I think if his coach didn't leave, he would have stayed at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
For sure. But
probably
life was good out there.
I don't think he would have went number 1 had he been stayed at Oklahoma. I just don't think that especially the defensive now. So, but
Oklahoma
anyway, I'll say I'm biased. I've never been a big fan of Pac-12 defenses. I love the gameplay.
No, I got you.
Wide open shootouts, but none of them could play defense.
One thing about OU, they produce Heisman Trophy quarterbacks.
That's true.
They will do that. We have one that came in second on our team, even when Jalen was more of a Bama. But he was with Oklahoma when he played second to Burrow. Anyway, get into that.
Do you want to talk some waiver wire targets?
Yeah. Let's go.
So, looking at what we saw this week, do you want to just hit position by position and see who might be available that's out there that would be somebody that they could pick up?
There you go. We'll see.
There's some interesting ones. Look at that. Derek Carr. Do you think there'll be some people putting in for Derek Carr this week?
I don't see how you can't pick up Derek Carr.
Where am I at on the waiver wire? Because that would be my number 1 target right now with him getting ready to play the Eagles.
Let's see. 33 and a 34. That's not over the top, if I'm being honest. But that's still really solid. But this year, it seems like 40 plus is going to be.
Yeah. But when you're stuck with Richardson and Herbert, Carr looks pretty good. And then also Sam Darnold. Take a look at Sam. That's another quarterback that I would look at.
Same range.
Yep, same around.
Winning games in fantasy, they could be, it's a fine line sometimes,
Well, as far as like the quarterbacks that are out there, that would probably be my 2 that I would encourage people to go after, depending on what they've got. Geno would be another one if he's still available in your league. I would look at him after that performance against a really good defense in New England. So I would look at those 3 as potential waiver wire pickups.
I don't think Darnold's seeing ghosts anymore.
No.
Pac-12 quarterback. Yeah. Oh, Darnold. You're right. I don't know how Derek Carr is still on nobody's roster, man. This is crazy.
Yeah. Well, he will be after this week.
Yeah, definitely. So there's Carr there. There's some guys you may want to drop on the trending down spot.
Oh, yeah.
Caleb Williams, I already dropped him. I already had him. He was part of the drops. I don't know if it's because they don't know what's going to happen with Justin Fields. What type of fantasy? Oh, no. No. Definitely not good fantasy.
No, you're just doing enough.
Price gets benched. That's understandable. Golf.
And you got Andy Dalton as a potential. I don't like Carolina, period. So why would I go to somebody
like
Dalton? Yeah, exactly. I would look at, they got Thompson up there as well. coming in for Tua. I think the reason Thompson's up there is he's going to get practice with the first teamers. He's going to be throwing to Waddle. He's going to be throwing to Reek. So does he do well? It's hard. Yeah. I wouldn't put him in my starting lineup this week. I know he's trending up number 1, but my number 1 target would be Carr. Darnold second only because of JJ, and then Geno. If I need to replace one of mine, and I'm definitely going to put in a waiver wire for 1 or 2 of those guys this week, because I got Richardson, and Richardson's somebody I don't know if I can trust now after that performance against Indy. Granted, it was on the road, and it is what it is. But
you're waiver 10.
See, that ain't fair. I'm the 0-2. I should be waiver number 1.
You must have used it last week, because it just goes priority. If you use it, you go to the back of the line.
Yeah. I did make some pickups last week. It's still not fair.
Yeah.
Should go record first, then when you used it. I'm just saying. You're the commish. You could do something about this. All right. What about receiver? Are you going to go running back next? Running back's good.
Yeah.
Running back right off the bat. Look at who's sitting there. Pacheco's gone. We've talked about that earlier in the show. Pacheco's gone. Who's out there? Now, here's a really good question. Do you go Steele, Pirine, or Kareem Hunt?
And then Hunt's coming back for
trying out. He's even showed up. There you go. Expected to sign.
Me, from a fantasy perspective, Pacheco was a little bit special. That's why they went to him. I'm never comfortable with a Kansas City running back, like ever, just ever. But you have to have him on your team because they're going to move the ball. They're in an Andy Reid offense, but he's RB1 right now, Mr. Carson Steele.
Yes,
I'm not familiar with him. I'm not familiar with him at all.
Yes, the things that I've seen on him. Again, I didn't watch a lot of him when he was at UCLA, but the things I've seen on him is he's a hard-nosed type of back, unproven, untested. I do think that he is projected to get a lot of the goal line carries.
Mm-hmm. He's a tough runner. I watched the game. Because I had that much money on him.
and Pirine is going to be getting more of the catches out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
But I just got this feeling if Kareem comes back to KC and gets back to his old ways, that could be a good free agent pickup. It could be to take a flyer on. If people pick up Pirine and Steele and you can't get them, take a flyer on. If you got an extra bench spot, stash Hunt and see what happens. He's not gonna play this week,
right? But he does have to get in football shape and all that good stuff.
Yeah, but I would go now. In my opinion, though, I would go Pirine first. Even though I know that they're saying Steele's going to get a lot of the catches. If Pirine's got the experience, granted, he's not Pacheco. He's not even half of Pacheco,
but he'll get more catches.
Yes, and that's in a PPR that could be really good. All right, so that's probably your number 1 running back targets. We can hit that back up after this question. What you got here?
Trade Kamara, Moore, and Darnold for Kelsey, Stevenson, Carr, and Brian Thomas. Ooh, buddy. Trade Kamara, Moore, and Darnold. Kelsey, Stevenson, Carr, and Brian Thomas. I'm going to work on bringing some of these up.
Kamara just had a monster game. 4 touchdowns. He's hot. That's definitely the centerpiece of this deal. And if you're a Kamara owner, you're like, all right, you're banking on if you're even considering this deal, you're at the point where you're like, oh, will he be able to sustain it? But I would say look at what he's got coming up. Now, Philly? He's going to score some points in that Philly game. Atlanta probably too.
Tampa.
KC, they've got a good defense. They might hold him a little bit. Tampa Bay, he'll probably get some points. Denver, I think Kamara, I don't know if he's all the way back, but man, somebody really wants Kamara.
So, I had him in my other league, man. 50 piece.
Yeah, if you can unload more, I have more, and I'm not on the Moore train because of Caleb. I just don't know if that's going to get going this year. So I'm very skeptical about what to do with DJ Moore. I don't even know if I could trade him, that kind of thing. I may offer him, and here I'm on live, saying that. So it's like I'm putting myself at a disadvantage. But Kelsey and
I have Stevenson. I tell you what, man, Ramon Stevenson's been good for me.
Yeah.
Especially last week. Carr, we already saw what Carr was bringing up. 34.
I tell you what, Stevenson kind of offsets the Kamara loss, but it really have to be accepting that you might give away a good chunk of your offense. I don't know if Carr is going to be your starter, if that really helps you.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Will Carr be your starter, Mr. Vengeance?
Because he's, I'd say, slightly better than what you're getting in Darnold. Darnold has a high ceiling because of JJ, but Carr is going to be more solid. So yeah, you're getting an extra player. It's a very close deal. If you're getting rid of Moore, then that's a plus, and you're getting Kelsey in return. And if you don't have a solid tight end, I lean toward the green on this deal. But man, it would be really hard for me to give up Kamara after these first 2 weeks.
Look at this, a total of.
I know.
What's this? 10 on the nose. 10 on the nose in 2 weeks.
Stay that way forever, though.
But something
these guys will get going.
Well, allow me. I had Travis Kelsey last year and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I started to notice towards the second half of the season there was a big drop off. You know what? If I'm being honest, I think it was right around the time of the Taylor Swift drama. Hey, I'm just telling you my personal experience. I'm just recapping my personal experience having Travis Kelsey on my roster last year, and then he got good a little bit late. 1 for 3. Did you see that play? Mahomes has Kelsey wide open. Mahomes just throws it in the ground.
Yeah.
Just like throws it at his feet. And you're just like, they've been playing together too long to just,
It could be a little age too. I mean, we had Zach Ertz, who was unstoppable that 1 year with Wentz, set the record for receptions by a tight end in a season, was phenomenal. I mean, he was the offense that year with Wentz. And they got rid of him at the right time because ever since, he's not had the same spark. You reach a certain age. Travis getting ready to be 35 years old. You don't have the same separation. Even Gronk, lost a step. Some of the best guys that were out there, big guys, Jimmy Graham, you lose a step after a certain point.
Oh yeah.
So we're trading on name right now. For now, I do have faith, even that they'll get it together and Kelsey will still have a decent season.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that's a tough trade.
Let me see. Stevens. Oh, man.
Yeah, I just don't like getting rid of Kamara's offense. I think he's got capability this year in that offense to be really good.
The way the Saints are playing right now, I think I'm just going to hold right now. I would just hold. I wouldn't take the trade at the moment, but then when I look back at this trade, I go, okay, you're really just trading Kamara for Kelsey, Stevenson, Carr, and Brian Thomas. Then I'm like, man, take the trade.
I mean, if you look at it that way, that's exactly what you're doing. Would he give you more for Thomas straight up? No. Would he give you Carr for Darnold? No. So it's Kamara that's attracting all the others, and he knows that, the guy that you're up against. That's his target. So it's you really have to ask yourself, do you want those 4 players for the one? Because you're not really giving up anything and more in Darnold.
I like Stevenson because they're not going to ask Jacoby to throw the ball 30, 40 times. He's going to mix in the run. He's just like your standard like journeyman quarterback. You can just put him in, you can drop him on any squad.
Yeah.
And he can win you some games, man. So, yeah, man, I think I'm taking that trade because it's basically Kamara for Kelsey, Stevenson, Carr.
That's what I said. Slightly in the green.
Having a phenomenal.
Slightly in the green. So if I had the meter, I would be just with the red on this side, green on this side, just slightly in the green. Just saying, because I do think Kelsey will get it going. You still get Stevenson. Depending on who your quarterback is, I think Carr's an upgrade over Darnold. So The hard part is giving up Alvin. That's the hardest part.
Right.
Saying goodbye is the hardest part.
Back to the waiver. How about this guy?
Yeah.
How about this kid who I text you? You look at your phone during the draft. I said, this kid, Allen, out of Wisconsin.
Yep.
Look at 6'1", 235. When he gets out in the open field, he looked like Derrick Henry. They don't want to tackle him.
Yeah.
He looked like a monster. 7 carries, bro. Yeah, 33 yards, but he looked good every time he touched the ball. I was like, who the fuck is this Allen kid?
This makes me so angry. It makes me so angry watching him this week because you drafted number 1. Now, granted, I could have drafted McCaffrey, which I didn't. I mean, he wasn't available to me, but I could have been that guy. But I took Breece Hall over Bijan. It was one of those, toss-ups. Took Breece for a lot of reasons. He's had Rodgers coming back. I didn't believe a lot in the Falcons offense. I still kind of don't. But I think Bijan might have been more the way to go, especially when this guy crops up. So I can only hope he gets hurt. I don't wish. It's fantasy, dude. All's fair. But if he starts vulturing stuff from Breece, I'm going to be pretty upset because Breece, he's all I got, man. He's all I got.
Yeah, man.
I would definitely be targeting Braylon Allen. Yeah,
it's this is a big back here, so we'll see. Definitely down the goal line, 235, young. You can't. 20 years old, bro. You have a 20-year-old.
Yep.
Back to 6'1", 235. Yep. Man, you're getting some years out of this kid. Like I said, I didn't watch him that much in Wisconsin, but when the draft came, I started looking him up, and I was like, man, this kid looks really good.
Yeah,
and he's easing his ways. Like he went from 18 snaps, 18% of the snaps in week 1, just 2 touches, and then he basically got like double, triple the touches the week after. So, and this is in a win, so it's always positive. Not like it's straight garbage time.
Yeah, no. He had a great game. Had a great game 7 for him. Some of the other ones up there, like I said, Cam Akers, possible. He looked really good in relief.
See how Mixon injury not considered long term.
Yeah, and so Akers looked good in relief. So that's a good possibility. We know what we get with Akers. That's the one thing I would say about Cam Akers. We've been there before with Cam.
Right.
We've been there when he was with the Rams. We know what you're going to get. You may get 15 points. You may get 12. You may get 4. It's, like he did this week in relief. Let me look at the running back list again. Did they have Chandler on there? Is he available? No, he's not, huh?
He may be available. He's just probably not trending.
Not trending, yeah. Right, I would look at just something I would throw out there that may not be on the Chandler.
Get that A in there.
Yeah, get that A in there. Chandler. There we go. I was kind of impressed what I saw of him in a limited capability. 2nd year out of North Carolina, shifty back. He's spelling Aaron Jones. Just something to keep an eye out.
You know what? He's on a. Hey, you know why? You know why Will has him? Because he's a Packers fan. That's his division.
So he knows.
If you notice, Will, he'll always have these sneaky NFC North.
Yeah.
Just sneaky.
So for the rest of our audience, not in our league where I can't put a claim on him, but he was somebody I had my eye on, and now I see that he's already claimed. But I don't think a lot of people have Ty Chandler out there.
Right? He's rostered as 41%.
Yeah. You're going to need to take a flyer. But again, look at it says leads the team in rushing in the Vikings victory. I think that, Jones is aging. And if he gets injured at all, this kid's going to be the one. He's
running back years are like dog years, man.
Yep.
It's 7. He didn't play 21 seasons.
Yeah.
So far.
I like Aaron Jones. I've had him. He's been solid for me in fantasy in the past, but you can only go so long. He's 29 years old. And so, we'll see how that goes. But that was one I liked. I'm looking at my list here. Deontay Foreman had a really good game. I don't know if he's trending, but Jerome Ford, that game, the Cleveland game.
He's down here.
Yeah. Jerome Ford, I don't think, 15 touches. So again, that's somebody to look at. Yeah.
Ford.
64 yards
from Ford, 7 from Deontay.
I just the thing is between the two, I think Deontay might get more going forward, so he's worth a stash. I'd also, if you don't already have Chubb picked up, I would definitely pick up Chubb because neither guy is setting the world on fire, and Chubb is due to be back in a couple weeks. I have him in my IR on another league, and I can't wait. I need me some running back out. Oh, midseason. Now why do you got to do that? Why you got to do that to me?
We're here on the fantasy waiver wire. We give nothing but the facts. Nothing but the facts. When you come here,
just rain on my parade. Rain on my parade.
It's hey.
Things were bad enough. The Eagles had lost. I lost both my fantasy leagues. I'm last in the waiver wire. Liverpool lost to Nottingham Forest. And then
y'all won today. Y'all won today.
They did beat Milan.
Pulisic thought he was doing something coming out.
Yeah.
But anyway, I like Milan because they have a lot of ex-Chelsea players on there.
Yeah, they do. And they got beat. So that was a redemption for losing to Nottingham, but which was a crappy game. It was poorly officiated. And
I didn't catch the Forest game.
Liverpool put so many shots, and their goaltender played out of his head. But anything that came near the Nottingham Forest players, they were going down and getting fouls, and it was just getting frustrating because Liverpool couldn't get any offensive sustained because of that. But anyway, we're not
Nuno and the boys, man.
But yeah, so that may even give you more reason to pick up Foreman because it looks like Chubb won't be back to midseason. I'm still holding on to him though. He will be back eventually.
Let's go to those wide receivers. We all love a wide receiver in PPR league.
To be honest. If he doesn't come back and play the rest of the mid-season, Chubb, that's it. He's got to come back and come into form. So what you saying? We're moving on to wide receivers now?
Moving on to wide receivers. I think you mentioned him last week.
I did. He's still available.
Solid. Very efficient 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns bumped it up a lot. 5 catches, 51 yards, pedestrian. But when you add 2 tutties,
right. And
you're doing something.
Why did I say I like the kid? And I think he's, after last year, he had some issues. And I think that he's going to have a great second year. I almost put a claim on him. But the problem that I have is, number one, I had too many receivers. But now maybe I took him over more. Is that offense. I know Herbert's in there. But like I said, I wouldn't expect this type of production because the Chargers offense is going to be a run-first offense. So if you're thinking it's going to be Herbert airing it out like he had in past with Kellen Moore as the OC. That ain't going to be the case with Jim Harbaugh as the coach. You're going to see a lot of J.K. Dobbins, and then you're going to get games where Johnston is touchdown dependent and could do really, really well. This guy.
With the Deebo Samuel's injury,
yeah.
This is where he bumps up at. I think that's why he's trending so high. He will steal some first downs. He will catch a few first downs here or there. Has to be annoying if you have a Niners receiver.
Yeah.
To his guys always key plays. All of a sudden you're like, oh Jennings, okay.
His name always pops up. He had a great first week, and every time he catches a ball, I see Ayuk standing right next to him. I'm like, dude, you're killing me.
So with the Deebo injury,
that's a great pickup. If I didn't have Ayuk, I might consider it. I'm hoping with Ayuk's injury with Deebo's injury that Ayuk's numbers come up. So we'll see on that one.
Juwan Jennings looking like our wide receiver 2 until further notice. So
the one I like on here should be on here if somebody doesn't already. Right there, Demarcus Robinson down a little ways. I like.
It was going to be either him. I was picking on him and Tutu Atwell. So
Atwell. Yeah. I mean both two. Yeah.
With Puka and Cooper Kupp down.
Yep.
These guys are the next other guys. I have Tyler Johnson already. So it's really Tyler Johnson, who I have already. And then you have DeMarcus Robinson and Tutu. Tutu had some really good splashes last year. I had him last year for a few weeks, then dropped him. But DeMarcus Robinson, wasn't he with the Chiefs for a while?
Yeah. So been around.
Chiefs. Anyway, I'm just trying to look at this. Okay. Yeah. But guess who's trending down? Stafford. What was up with Stafford this week?
You're losing 2 top receivers. It's like you're gonna trend down. Most of your offense is on the IR, so it's not good for him.
Man. Let's see, 27. He just looked flat. Struggle to fumble. No picks at least, but no touchdowns. So that's a killer. Let me see here. Yeah, he is getting thin. He doesn't have those guys where he doesn't even have to think. He just has a good rapport with Cooper Kupp and then Puka.
Yep, that's tough.
So now they're out,
Yeah,
man.
any of those wide receivers, if they're available, I mean, granted you're taking a chance because Stafford's down right now, but I don't think he'll be down forever. He's going to find he's a good quarterback. He'll find
Highest projected out of that group you have for next week or this week.
Yeah.
You have 12.5 from Tyler, 8, 2, and 13. Like Demarcus Robinson is the big dog in this group. So projection wise, Demarcus Robinson.
There is, like, even going into the draft, we talked about this as far as even waiver wire, post draft. There are wide receivers to be had even in free agency. So I mean, we could literally do another 15 minutes on some of the wide receivers that you could go
That's
for.
why I went running back so heavy. If you look at my team,
when
we did our pre-draft, reason why I went running back so heavy, and while I still have guys like Najee, Zamir, I have 4 RB1s, like as far as their team goes, and because you knew, all right, man, we can get some wide receivers.
Yeah.
If you were here for the fantasy waiver wire mock draft, one of the things we noticed very early on, like, you got to get your running backs, and
without a doubt,
it's still true. It's still true right now.
And so you don't have one of those big name wide receivers, but you got Godwin and Metcalf that were drafted later.
Right.
They're doing really well. So yeah.
Absolute monsters.
There's tons out there as far as receivers to be had. I mean, those are just a few of what's out there. I don't know if you want to keep looking at them, but
just want to see what what the sleeper is. We're gonna a little before we get out of here. Defense, man. People sleep on a defensive pickup, and there's no defenses trending. I guess that would be. You should give us the slot. Let's see if there are any defense in here. So you have the Raiders trending the highest because they're playing Carolina. Now not really sure how this is going to go this week with the change. But if you got Tampa going up against Denver, Bo Nix hasn't looked that great. But I'm not surprised. I mean, there's a reason you're in college for like 27 years.
Right.
If you had it, you'd be out. You'd be out playing. So you just no telling what you're going to get from Bo, and the Broncos are. I don't really know what's going on with this team here. I'm in Colorado, so I see it all. Now, I was here when Vic Fangio was the head coach here. I was here. So I watched him on TV. You watch your local news and you get all that, like how you get your Bengals stuff. But anyway, Tampa and Cleveland up against the Giants. So top 3 potential this week is you have the Raiders, Tampa Bay going up against Denver Broncos, and Cleveland against the Giants. And I wouldn't go against any of that. That's pretty high odds there. So yeah, man, for the most part, that is
yeah, I mean, tight ends are still available. We haven't talked about, but I would say the only one that I would really look at is Hunter Henry. Ertz, maybe. Yeah,
solid.
I'd look at Henry. He's solid as far as if you don't have one, and I don't. I have Parkinson and I have Ferguson who's hurt. So I would take a flyer on Henry. I'd also look at Ertz just because Jane Daniels doesn't really have. He had a pretty solid game against the Giants because Jaden Daniels just doesn't have a lot to throw to, or he doesn't want to throw down the field as much. McLaurin has really been a disappointment for me because he doesn't throw downfield. So, but he does like hitting the tight end. He likes hitting intermediate passes. So I think that's what you're going to get out of him at least the first half of the season. So Zach Ertz is another one that if you can't get Hunter Henry or if you need a tight end and you can't get Hunter Henry, Ertz is an alternative. I know. Look at McLaurin. Thought I had I should have drafted Worthy. I knew better. I got sparkles in my eyes over the name. Number 1 wide receiver, still sitting on the board in the 4th round, 5th round, whenever I got him.
You know him from college.
Yeah. And so it's like got sparkled by the name, and I should have grabbed Worthy. I'd have been much better off. And I didn't follow our own advice when we talked about grabbing youth at wide receiver. But whatever. It is what it is. Can't redraft. Got to deal with what you got. Yeah. But there's some options out there. Gesicki didn't have a bad game. So he looked good against the Bengals. There you go right there.
9 targets.
Yep.
It's a lot of optimism.
There's options. There's options.
There's definitely options.
I have to, when we get off of here, I have to go and sit down and make all my claims. But if you're in our league and you're listening to anything we've said tonight, I'm not making any claims. I don't think there's anybody worth picking up this week. I would just not look at the waiver wire. I just go to sleep knowing that you're good. Your team is solid.
Absolutely, man. I absolutely will not do that. Absolutely will not do that.
Bert,
I don't really know what I'm doing this week.
Solid, dude.
Yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing this week. I don't want to get too crazy because you only have 5 bench players, man.
Yeah,
and you have to be careful. You'll find yourself at the bottom of the fantasy wire. Where am I at? I'm talking shit. Let me see. I am 5.
So do you want to trade your position in the waiver wire?
Man, I'm still mad. Last week, man, I didn't even really need the waiver wire. I used my waiver, my 3 waiver, and Tyler Johnson. Nobody even put in the claim.
I will give you DJ Moore for your 4th position in the waiver wire now.
Oh man,
right now. I'll give you DJ Moore and Jake Ferguson for that 4th spot. I'll just keep throwing in shit. Come on, let's go.
No, thank you. Got anything else before we get out of here, man? You ready for this week?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, we'll be back, of course, on Thursday. It's going to be we'll talk about lineups and matchups and see how everybody did on their waiver wire and if anything else is out there that you guys are interested in. But yeah, it's going to be a tough week. It's tough season, but it's a long season. Thank goodness. And just enjoy it. I had a friend of mine who's a Cowboys fan, and unfortunately, I do have friends that are Cowboys fans, and I love them to death. Just hate that they're misguided, but it's okay. But we were watching that Cowboys Saints game, and I'll leave everybody with this: as they were getting their butt kicked, and he said this probably because they were getting their butt kicked. He didn't get upset. He didn't throw a fit. He just looked over and said, "Look, I'm a football fan first. So as long as I can enjoy the game as a whole and then enjoy my team second, that's how I'm going to live my life and then just enjoy the games." And I think a lot of us need to remember that when you're doing fantasy, you're a football fan first. So just enjoy football. If you lose like I did this week, or the Eagles lose, you lose both your fantasy leagues when you had a great first week, and this is how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
So just remember you love football, have some beer, enjoy the games, and have a good time. And we'll be here to help you off the ledge as much as possible. Maybe you can help me off the ledge a little bit too. We can do this together.
Hey, no matter where you start at in this league, man, we both went to the championship 7-7. So
yep, we did.
Never out of it. And we'll be back on Thursday, same time, about an hour before kickoff. Come back and get your last minute advice, last minute of lineup adjustments. Come learn from a champion. Right here. Right here at the Fantasy Waiver Wire.
Learn from a failure. You can learn from failures too.
Hey, runner-up's not bad. Nobody just remembers them. With that said, man, we are out of here, man. We see y'all on Thursday. Gone.